I awaken in darkness. It is not the tender embrace of twilight, nor the velvet calm of a shaded room. It is a blackness so complete, it might be a shroud draped over my senses. The air hangs heavy, each breath drawn a labour, a weight pressing upon my chest. Why am I confined here, entombed within this bed? My limbs lie inert, as though chained by unseen bonds. I do not remember an injury, nor illness, and yet I cannot rise. Why can I not rise? The silence is vast, oppressive, and alive. It seems to press inward, crowding my thoughts with its suffocating presence. In its depths, faint murmurs stir, like echoes from a distant, unknowable void. I strain to catch their meaning, but they dissolve into the heavy quiet before I can grasp them. My heart pounds, each beat a sharp knock against the stillness, and the gnawing question tightens its grip. What has befallen me? The room is oppressive, its boundaries barely perceptible. Walls seem to close in, a maw that threatens to devour. A single faint source of light now pierces the gloom, a sputtering candle atop a decrepit iron sconce in the wall, its flame feeble and flickering, as if it too fights to survive. Shadows dance upon the walls like phantoms in revelry, grotesque shapes that mock my helpless state. A cracked mirror hangs above me, suspended on the ceiling. Its surface fragments the candlelight into jagged shards that slice across the room. My reflection peers down, fractured and monstrous, the contours of my face warped as though mocked by some malicious artist. Pale as wax, my sunken eyes stare back at me with an accusation I cannot comprehend. The mirror feels alive, a sentient thing waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The air is thick with an acrid stench, something sulphurous and cloying that clings to the roof of my mouth. Each breath brings the taste of decay, metallic and bitter. A faint, rhythmic dripping punctuates the silence. Somewhere beyond the walls, liquid falls with relentless persistence, like the measured tolling of a death knell. Something stirs. It is not within the room, yet it moves through the air like a chill wind, unseen but palpable. My breath quickens as whispers begin to tickle the edge of my consciousness, hushed voices speaking words I cannot understand. Their tone is both pleading and accusatory, a dissonance that churns my mind. Who are they? What do they want of me? I force my eyes to roam the room despite the dread that builds with every passing moment. The wallpaper peels like dead skin, exposing wood beneath that pulsates faintly, as though alive. The bed, my prison, creaks beneath me, and I dare not shift for fear of what movement might provoke. The cracked mirror above me shifts imperceptibly, and for a moment, I think I see something move within its depths. Not my reflection, but something other, crawling and writhing like maggots in a wound. Above, the ceiling swirls with a sluggish vortex of smoke, its patterns forming and dissolving in endless, grotesque metamorphoses. Faces emerge briefly from the miasma, grinning skulls, hollow-eyed spectres, only to be swallowed once more. The whispers grow louder, their tone rising and falling in an obscene rhythm that mimics my heartbeats. The candle flickers, its light dims further, and I hear a faint scraping noise. My heart pounds. Is someone or something there? The sound grows louder, a deliberate rasp that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. I strain my eyes toward the ceiling mirror, and my blood runs cold. Within the fractured glass, a figure begins to take form. It is not my reflection, though it lies where I should. Cloaked in black, its face obscured by a veil so fine it seems woven of smoke. The figure tilts its head as if to study me. Beneath the veil, Hints of a face emerge, a gleam of teeth too sharp, the glint of eyes that seem to see through flesh and bone. It raises a hand, skeletal and clawed, and points directly at me. "What do you want?" I croak, my voice barely more than a whisper. The figure does not answer, but the candle flares briefly, its flame a sickly green. The shadows on the walls stretch long and thin, their shapes twisting into grotesque mockeries of human form. My pulse pounds in my ears as the figure moves closer, not through the room, but within the mirror itself, as though it traverses a realm I cannot reach. The whispers grow louder, a cacophony that grates against my mind. Each voice is distinct, yet overlaps in a maddening symphony, accusing, mocking, pleading. They know me intimately, dredging secrets from the depths of my memory. I hear my name spoken in tones of derision, echoed back and forth, until it becomes a meaningless dirge. Flashes of faces swim through my thoughts, distorted and grotesque, their expressions twisted in blame or pity. They press against the inside of my skull, unrelenting. The sheets beneath me feel damp, clammy, as though soaked in sweat. I clutch at them, my fingers digging into the fabric as though it might anchor me. Symbols begin to appear on the walls, carved by invisible hands. Gothic and arcane, they writhe and pulse like living things, their meaning just beyond my grasp, yet heavy with dread. They move as though in rhythm with my heartbeat, faster and faster, until the room itself seems alive with frenetic energy. I see shapes now, crawling along the edges of my vision, scuttling like insects over the furniture and up the walls. My mind reels, trying to make sense of the impossible. The bed becomes an altar, the walls a cathedral to some malevolent force that thrives on my anguish. Each whisper becomes a scream, each shadow a claw reaching for me, and still I cannot move. The veil in the mirror begins to lift, and I scream. Not from the sight of what lies beneath, but from the sudden clarity of understanding. The whispers are not external. They are my own thoughts, fractured and reflected back to me. The grotesque figures and the oppressive darkness, the immobility, they are manifestations of something far deeper, a truth I have refused to see. Memories rush forth, a flood breaching a dam. I see the cold, grey corridors of an asylum, the clink of metal restraints, the faces of doctors who spoke softly but looked at me with pity. I see myself in a fit of rage, shouting at phantoms only I could see. There are letters too, their ink smudged by trembling hands, confessions of guilt, of failure, of sins both real and imagined. I hear the final words of a loved one, words I had drowned out in a haze of self-pity. You must forgive yourself. The truth lands with the weight of an anvil. This room, this darkness, this paralysis, it is not born of physical ailment, but of a mind fractured by despair. The waxing veil that obscured my reality was crafted by my own unwillingness to confront the ghosts of my past. Every symbol, every grotesque shadow, every whisper was a fragment of my own torment, magnified and turned against me. The figure's veil fully dissolves, revealing my own face, withered, anguished, but unmistakably mine. It smiles, not in malice, but in a grim understanding, and speaks with my voice. You are the architect of this prison. The symbols on the walls ignite, casting the room in a searing light. Memories flood my mind, fragmented and disjointed. I recall a life once filled with vitality, a spirit unbroken by despair, and yet, piece by piece, I see how I surrendered to fear, to doubt, to the weight of existence itself. This bed is not a prison, but a cocoon spun by my own unwillingness to face the world beyond. The light dims, and the figure vanishes. The whispers fall silent. For the first time, I breathe freely, the oppressive weight lifted. The room remains dark, but it no longer terrifies me. I am still confined, yet I know the truth now. I have lifted this waxing veil of fear. I alone confronted the demons of my mind, faced their horror, and defeated them with a resolve as sharp and bright as the blade of dawn. Maybe they linger behind the veil, waiting to overcome me once again. But for now, I feel my restraints lift, and I know that I will rise.